Hey, what's going on, podcasters? Let's acknowledge the good friends of the Loft Party Podcast. The Majestic Restaurant and Pendergast Club, carrying on Kansas City's tradition of great food and great jazz, 931 Broadway in Kansas City, Missouri. The J. Rieger Kansas City Distillery, whiskey, gin, vodka. That is, oh so good. And friend of the podcast and panelist, Lane Boland, managing to keep the podcast going. Apparently wealthy or not. Now onto our regularly scheduled program. All right, I want to welcome everybody out there in podcast land to the Good Times with Good People Company presents the Loft Party Podcast, where it is always about good times, good people, and good talk. So, how's everybody doing?
Doing all right.
Good. Good. So, I think we'll jump right into what are we... No, we won't jump right into it. We've got a full table, so let's introduce the panel. First, our returning champion, Dave Tiemann. He is an entrepreneur and art dealer. Chris O'Connor, co-owner of Liquid 9 Broadcast Media. Lane Boland, who is a wealth manager. Big Dave Elliott, he's the owner of C&P Construction. Ben Roberts, he is our bartender extraordinaire here at the Pendergast Club. Brian Massey, he is a data analyst at DST Systems. Joining us new on the panel today, John Lindley. He is an aspiring, I'm giving him the eyeball, web developer. I think that might mean he does something in porn. We'll ask him about that later. And of course, the anonymous female, because she doesn't want you to know her name. So, let's get right into what are we drinking, what are we smoking, and let's start with what are we drinking. And you know what? Even though I'm pretty sure I know the answer, I think I might have a surprise today. The anonymous female. What are you drinking?
I have Rieger Gin and Tonic with orange bitters.
All right.
Nice.
All right. Because we don't always get what are you drinking out of the anonymous female. Ben?
I am drinking Corsair's Rhymageddon in horse feather fashion with ginger beer, field fashion bitters, and a slice of lemon rind. It's delicious.
So you may have to unpack that slightly for our podcast listeners out there.
Spoken like a true bartender.
Yeah, if I say our
What's horse feather fashion?
yeah,
Well, a horse feather is just a cocktail with ginger beer and bitters, and typically with a slice of lemon rind or a twist, if you will.
okay.
It's super refreshing and just delicious. I love it.
All right. Big Dave.
I am drinking some of my Centenario, my 25-year Costa Rican rum. Ron Centenario.
That's what we had last.
It's mucho bueno.
The deliciousness. I
Deliciano.
don't remember. John.
I have water.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
When you come here, you got to quit drinking the hard stuff, man.
I know.
You're making us look bad.
Just staying hydrated. That's all it is.
I hear you. Dave Tiemann.
Rieger vodka, soda, squeeze a lemon, as always. Very refreshing in this heat.
He could have used a profane word,
And
and he held back for later, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm talking about. These are kind of gentlemen, and I am using the air quotes on that word, that I have sitting with me today. Chris.
This is actually my favorite weather, so but not my favorite drink. I do like it plain though. Normally I'd be drinking the Pendergast, which I love, but they looked a little unsteady down there for a second on the actual ingredients. So I thought, you know what, I'll just go with Rieger whiskey straight.
Okay. All right.
Chose a good call.
Brian.
I'm drinking Majestic's Barrel Aged Manhattan on the rocks.
And Lane. What are we drinking?
Just the old usual Overholt rye whiskey.
All right. And I am having one of the Pendergast Barrel Aged Manhattans myself because It is pretty delicious.
It's damn good.
So I'm going to start the other direction for what are we smoking, and that means since Brian has nothing to smoke, as I am giving him the look, Chris.
Always the Oliva Series G, my favorite. Just want to love it.
All right.
Tis
Dave.
a Great Cliff.
Okay.
1666.
How are the Great Cliffs?
You know, they're okay. It's not my favorite. I had a Legis the other day, which was so good, and I'm going to get more of those. Gurkhas, Ligas, and Rocky Patels. I mean, it doesn't get much better than those three.
John.
I don't smoke.
And we're also giving him the face on not drinking or smoking, ladies and gentlemen. You do not smoke at all?
Where did you come from?
I smoke some when I drink, but
Now I don't
Okay.
trust you.
I'm about
It's
to
a little
say,
hot today.
I'm about to say,
So.
did your podcast sponsor tell you that we drink and smoke all
also
during the
swear.
podcast?
I didn't really, I didn't make any assumption.
Neglected to do it. I'm
I
sorry.
will corrupt you before you're done.
Fair enough.
That's my job. I corrupt you.
I'm a malleable piece of.
And if I can't corrupt you, Lane will.
Okay.
Oh, that's a guarantee.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Big Dave.
All right, I'm smoking one of my father's cigars in honor
am
of Father's
Father's
Day
Day.
on Sunday,
All right.
and it's called La Antigua Guridad.
Okay.
And I just bought a box of these, and we will have them on our 50th anniversary
Oh, which
of the
which is-
company
which is
tomorrow night at Boulevard Brewery.
Yes.
How are those, Dave? You like them? Do you like them?
I do. It's my first one I've had of these. I've smoked
Antigüedad,
I've smoked
the
several of
antiquity.
my father's cigars. This is a Habano wrapper, so it's a little bit darker wrapper. It's kind of I would say a heavy medium.
Yeah.
But yeah, so far I just lit it, but it's very flavorful.
Is my father made by Rocky Patel? Do you know? Or
It's made by the
Fuente?
Garcia family.
By the Garcia family.
I think that's La Tabacalera, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I am not mistaken, you are correct. Are we smoking today?
I'm probably going to go grab an Oliva here in a minute.
Okay.
Oliva Series G.
Okay. Okay. But I say as Ben has seen me give the face to more. Oh,
you.
see now the charitableness across the table is amazing right now.
Maybe
you
you ought to
can't
get-
see this out
I
there.
think we should get a
podcast
small
land.
one for John to see if he turns green
I
before
see.
the end of the podcast.
You can't see this out there in podcast land, but Chris reached across the table and handed Ben an Oliva Series G.
Thank you.
Super gentlemanly, super charitable.
How many drinks have you given?
I'm
me?
only drinking. Yeah.
Lane is not
A few
smoking. All
cocktails.
Right.
right, Lane is not smoking, but he is drinking.
No pipe time?
No pipe today, and I am smoking.
Too much time in an airplane.
Okay. And I am smoking an Oliva Series G because they are actually
catch a
out
cold
of
one.
my Rosado wrapper Arturo Fuentes that I normally smoke, but I really do like the Oliva Series G's, so I couldn't pass up on the opportunity. So today's podcast topic is kind of close to my heart, and I thought that on the day after Father's Day, it was appropriate to talk about memories of our fathers. So it's good, it's bad, but these, are the memories that we have that have helped shape us into the fine, upstanding adults that we have become. Once again, I'm saying that with all air quotes physically possible. Fine, upstanding adults that we have become. I noticed that Big Dave brought visual aids as he has pictures of himself with his dad when he was a little boy.
And I was suiting and booting it at that age, baby. I got me a fine tweed jacket on with a nice black bow tie. And it's kind of funny. I think this picture was probably taken in 1962. It was a Polaroid black and white, so you had to pull it out and peel the film off. And it's just a good picture of my dad. Got a good smile on his face. I'm sitting there bewildered as usual, probably in trouble. So we're being made to sit there. Then the other picture I brought in, which I'm going to give my cousin John tomorrow, 1963 picture. I'm 4.5, and John is 17 months. John is the one of the lead architects for Chipotle Grills. He does probably about 20% of them nationwide. And we have our cowboy uniforms on and our guns slung to our sides, and I have a cowboy hat on. However, he does not, Bob, because it'd fall over his big head at that age. So anyway, it's just really interesting to see the pictures again. We are moving my mother out of her house that she's had, and into a smaller house as she's getting older. And so it's been an interesting weekend when we went up there to start clearing out my father's workbench. My dad's been gone for 12 and a half years now. And so when you start digging through stuff like that, it starts picking back at your memories.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and you're throwing away your family history, and you have to be somewhat ruthless because you don't use it anymore. You don't need it no more. It needs to go bye-bye.
Yeah.
There are certain things that are mementos that are worth keeping, but a lot of it needs to go away. And then, so it's always an emotional time when we did it for our grandparents, and I was very involved with that. And of course, now we're doing it for our parents, and that's part of the cycle of life. If you're fortunate to have that cycle and have your parents around for that much time. But I don't know. My father was a very interesting man. He was certainly kind of the opposite of me in a lot of ways. I'm very gregarious. Dad was a serious man, brilliant student, had a photographic memory like no tomorrow, which after I quit smoking marijuana, I found out that I was fairly close to that, but not quite to that point, but marijuana certainly clouded that ability. However, alcohol does not, as long as I stay within reason. And he had what our whole family has. He had a good work ethic. He had gone to KU, got a pharmacy degree, took us out to godforsaken western Kansas and Quinter and Liberal. Then moved us back to our family home at Paola, Kansas, where the grandparents were and everything else. 71, he bought a pharmacy up in Crooksville, Missouri, and moved us up there. And thought that was the worst thing in the world. I was a new kid in school, and every kid wanted to fight me, and my dad was a Jayhawk, and I just started playing football. I quickly became a Tiger fan. I've been a Tiger fan ever since. I'm glad I am, because I was getting my ass kicked half the time anyway when I had school. Last thing I'm going to do is root for the Jayhawks in the middle of Tigerville. So, but Dad and I had an interesting relationship. You know, he did give me the foundation that I needed. They took me into the church and raised me a religious man. He sang in the choir, a baritone. Get a little liquor in him, and he could be kind of gregarious. We could get him singing at parties. So he had a decent sense of humor, but at the same time, like I said, he was business. And when he bought that pharmacy up in Crooksville, that was it. That was his goal. And he took a pharmacy that was doing about 100 scripts a day and turned it into one of the top privately owned pharmacies in the state of Missouri.
Oh, wow.
It's been interesting. I've ran into a couple other pharmacists that knew of Dad, and I guess he was a highly, highly respected man in the state of Missouri. The main thing that I think my father gave me was you do business honorably. And it's going to be a little bit of an emotional deal for me tomorrow, because I've followed my father and my grandfather's way of doing business, and also took on the history of CMP and the former owners and their way of doing business. And here we are 9 years after I bought the company, and 50 years later in business, in wood framing, which is a tough trade. It's a tough place to stay in business. And I'm going to miss him tomorrow. It's going to be kind of a pretty incredible deal. I think he'd be proud of it. Now, getting back to the other end of the story, though, is that he at 18 told me, you can stay in my house this summer. But come fall, you're going to be in the dorm and in school, or you're going to get a job and have an apartment, but you will not be living in my house. And he was very serious about this. And that's exactly how it went down. But I failed in a lot of ways as a young man, And he had to talk my mother into letting me go and do my thing, and he had to let me go and do my thing. And didn't really talk to me. I was total opposite of what he wanted me to be. So when you have that, you have a long history of being able to work your way back into your Father's graces. And slowly but surely, I matured. And he never really understood or was proud of the fact that I was a carpenter. Until one day he came to Kansas City. And he had played, he was a scratch golfer, excellent golfer. Playing in a seniors tournament, Missouri seniors tournament at Indian Hills, and asked me to carry his bag for him, caddy for him. And so I did that day, and we had a good day. And the next day I had to go to work. Well, I was building this house that had a beautiful spiral staircase in it. I said, well, come out and see what I do. And he came out and saw me building that spiral staircase and looked at a lot of the other features in this house. And it dawned on him that I had a good talent. And I was running the crews, I was doing my thing. And he kind of changed his opinion of me after that. It was kind of an eye-opener for him. But I think the most important thing I could say about my father and I as I wrap up is that we have plenty of chances in our life to say, screw you, I don't want to see you no more, I don't want to talk to you no more. But we never did. We always found a way to communicate. Even when I was playing bad golf with him and just embarrassing the hell out of him. But, you know, we always found that way to find that connection point. So when my father passed early and suddenly at 65, I didn't have any regrets. You know, I think that's very important for people. Sometimes they have problems with family members and they shut them out. And then if you've done something really bad, sometimes that should be the case. But at the same time, you got to watch your emotions because sooner or later they die. And I think you should look at every family member you have and say, when this person dies, well, I have regrets. And if you're going to have regrets, you need to back off and look at yourself in the mirror and say, yeah, is that me? It probably is. I need to approach this differently and tell this person that, you know, you're still my flesh and blood and I love you.
You know, it's funny. When this topic came to me, it was you know, kind of for selfish reasons. I think everybody here knows that, you know, my father passed just before Thanksgiving last year, and so, you know, giving me an opportunity to, you know, kind of share some of the memories about my dad. You know, I called him Pop, and giving me a reason to share some of the reasons that, you know, that I love Pop. But yesterday, you know, we were in church and the sermon was about the story of the Prodigal Son, and I had a feeling that in a lot of ways that this particular panel may be heavier than most, but it was going to be a bunch of stories of the Prodigal Son. You know, I know, I goofed up 100 ways from Sunday, but I know that at every turn when my folks, you know, and particularly my pop, could have been like, you know what, deuces, they just didn't. They never did. You know, when it was like, oh, you need money for that, or you need, you know, this, or oh, you need to come back home for a little while, or you need whatever it was. They, like you said, there was always rules, but you know, my father, he was a good-natured, you know, man, definitely. But there were always rules, and as long as you knew what the rules were and you abided by the rules of their house, you know, everything was fine. But, you know, I always find it fairly amazing the capacity to not turn your back. You know, I think
It's a hard thing.
yeah, I mean, because like I say, sometimes people screw up bad enough where maybe turning your back is exactly what should happen.
He could have disowned me easily. I mean, I'm really a messed up dude. So I wanted to add one more small thing, and I should have brought it up during the first part of it, then I'll get out of the way. When Dad died, we had our service, it was in December, and it was a cloudy day in December, kind of cold day. And of course, Dad sang, and then one of the songs we picked was Ave Maria, which would be a very common song, it's a beautiful song. And all of a sudden, this beam of sunlight came through the window. Wasn't no big deal, but I turned around and looked. The light wasn't coming through any other windows. That's one of them moments where you go, whoa. That's
crazy.
You know, that's cool stuff. Every once in a while, we get that little message back. Sometimes it's at the end. That I'm here, I love you. That's cool stuff.
Very cool stuff. Lane, who you look the most ready to jump in next?
No, I was gonna say Dad was kind of a hard ass.
I do remember some of your dad's stories.
Okay, well, in one day he taught me 2 life lessons that actually I was thinking about this morning, and so in the space of actually about 18 hours, this was last week of summer before school starts. And anybody that plays high school football knows that's double days, right? So after the morning practice, I had to go back and move the bull into a pen to do his business. Except I didn't lock the pen, so the bull got out, and I ran in the house to get the old man, and he pretended like he was going to help me, and so we're rushing to the barn, and he's saddling up, and he's like, all right, let's go. Like, I'm on foot, and I'm chasing him, and he's pissed off at me because I'm not keeping up.
Right.
He knows I just finished football practice.
Right.
And so he lassos me and drags I'm not dragging, I'm like doing everything I can to keep up that fucking horse. And then we get there and he ties off the bull, and then he hands me the lasso, and then he just hauls off, starts going home. And I'm supposed to now, like, you ever heard the expression holding a wolf by the ears? Yeah, try holding a bull by a fucking piece of rope. I mean,
wow.
Yeah, so get him into the pen, and he's like, all right, now I need you to go irrigate section 12, and a section for you city people. No, I'm kidding. A section is 180 acres, right?
Right.
And it was alfalfa, and I was so tired I fell asleep at the pump and not irrigated, I flooded. It looked like a Mekong rice paddy. And at this point, the old man's coming out because I should have been back by then. He sees that. He's like, well, now you owe me $100,000.
Ooh. That was the same day?
Well, yeah, same day.
I remember that story.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, oh yeah. I didn't pay off that debt until after I got back from Iraq the first time.
I was going to say, was that, I think I remember you telling us about that was one of the tours you went on.
Oh yeah.
So you could pay him
Where
back.
was this, Lane?
This was in Central California near Fresno.
Okay.
It's about as flat as Salina, Kansas.
That's flat.
Yeah.
And as hot.
And just as hot.
Okay.
So after that, Ranger School, West Point, Iraq, business, that's all easy.
But you know what? There it is.
He prepared you for life for real.
There it is. It's easy. And I understand that because I worked as a kid too. It prepares you for life when you work hard as a young person and go through a lot of things.
Oh yeah.
It really makes life a lot easier down the road.
Yeah, oh yeah. Now, as a kid, I thought what he did to me at that point when I was 17 was pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
But looking back 16 years later, it's pretty fucking funny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, the story is funny now. I think if you'd, like I said, we'd have known each other then, I'd be like, your dad did what? Yeah. But now I'm like, damn, that's funny.
Oh, it's hilarious.
But, yeah.
What's your overall relationship like?
What's that?
What's your overall relationship like?
It's got to the point now where it's, it used to be very, subordinate, hierarchical, and now it's more peer level. My 2 younger brothers haven't exactly broken into that club yet. I don't know what happened. Yeah.
That's all
You're
right.
the oldest?
Well, yeah, but what it really comes down, I'm sure Brett will get there at some point, but I don't know. It's like he has like this internal. He's very methodical, and engineer and whatnot. And so I guess I finally checked off enough boxes on the list where you can get off my ass.
Well put.
Yeah, it was probably really last, like I say, 10 years, maybe, with that, like I knew
Yeah.
he looked at me as an adult man.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until, like, I knew he loved me, but I didn't know how much he respected me
Right.
until he was sick.
Isn't that what we're always after from our fathers,
Yeah,
though?
yeah.
Love is one thing, but
Yeah,
respect is a whole nother
it's a whole
ball.
nother thing. I remember the first time he went to the hospital, and he had to go into kind of like a rehab facility, and he was there for a couple weeks, and then he came home. Like, I mean, he would do stuff that my mom was asking him to do, but when I was there, I was like, look, the doctor said this, the rehab person said that, blah, blah, blah. I need you to get on it.
Do it.
And he was like, okay, all right. And he would get up, and he was following orders, and I just remember the role reversal was not lost on me at all. Like, it hit me like a ton of bricks that like I am the adult male of the family now. That was a very
Little passing of a torch.
it was a very humbling moment for me. It was not in a sad way, but just like, wow, like I am a grown ass man. Wow. like my dad is taking orders from me. That's ridiculous.
This isn't supposed to happen.
Yeah, like why would he ever do that? Like, but yeah, it was. He would but till he passed, he would definitely do stuff for me that he was kind of too proud to do for my mom or with my mom. But for me, he would be like, okay, all right, and just
And he asked your opinion.
yeah.
Holy hell.
Yeah. About a lot of things. Yeah.
That's never happened.